Salve, discipuli. Alright, this is going to be a very short video talking about the Lesson 36 quiz that will be coming at you on Wednesday. Alright, the most important part of this lesson are the comparative and superlative adverbs. So you need to be able to recognize them and translate them. Your comparative adverbs are all going to end in IUS. So basically, if you're looking at a comparative adverb ends in IUS, you know that's going to mean more blankly, whatever the adverb means. Okay. In terms of your superlatives, you're going to end up with something like isime or rime or lime, if it happens to be one of the rimus or limus words. And those you'll be translating most blankly. As always, there are other possibilities. So for your comparative translation, it could be to blankly, rather blankly. And for your superlative, it could also be very blankly. So let's just look at a couple examples really quickly. I hate coming up with examples off the top of my head. How about this? Validius. Okay, validus meaning strong, so this would mean more strongly, or too strongly, or rather strongly. And if we had a superlative, validissime, notice isime, that would be most strongly or very strongly. Okay, there you go. You should be aware that there are a couple of irregular ones, like du, which means for a long time, becomes diutius for a longer time, and then diutissime for the longest time. Then there's also saipe, which means often, saipius, which means more often, and saipissime, which means most often. So those are your comparatives and superlatives. Now, we should also be aware of how to translate the ablative of degree of difference. I'm not going to ask you much about this. I just want you to be able to translate it when you see it in phrases. The most obvious ones are ones that have either ante or post. You might see phrases like this: multis ante diebus. Okay? So literally this is saying earlier by many days. And this multis diebus is your ablative of degree of difference. For this we would simply say many days earlier or many days ago. Alright? You might be something like this, see something like this. Whoa, what was that thing? Paucis post oris. So this literally means afterwards, by a few hours. We would simply say a few hours later or a few hours after that. Okay? Now you'll also see ablatives of degree of difference with some comparative adjectives or adverbs. Like for example, multo celerius quam tu corimus. Alright, so here you have your comparative celerius. That's a comparative adverb, by the way, that notice the IUS. And then here you have your ablative of degree of difference. So this sentence says, we run, note the must, we run much more swiftly than you. So the celerius means more swiftly. The multo tells you how much more swiftly, the degree of difference, if you will. And that's why multo is in the ablative. So we run much more swiftly than you. Okay, there's your ablative of degree of difference. Often found with a comparative, or post, or ante. Alright, then there's really only one other major concept for you guys. And that is quam plus a superlative. Quam plus the superlative equals as blank as possible. So I might say, whoops. Whoops, I messed up. Let's try this again. Quam celerem curo. I run, then we have quam plus the superlative, as swiftly as possible. I'm pretty darn fast. So I run as swiftly as possible. Okay? It is also possible that you'll see something like this. Okay, so now instead of I run, we have cora, which is a command. It's saying, hey, you, run as swiftly as you are able. So quam plus celerem with no use of the word possum means as swiftly as possible. Quam plus celerem and then the form potes means as swiftly as you are able. Okay, this is a lot less common. You'll see this much more frequently, just the quam plus the superlative, which means as blank as possible. Realize that this superlative could be an adjective or an adverb. Either way would work. Alright, so I think that's all I really want you guys to know for the quiz. Obviously there's going to be a vocab section. Okay. It's going to be full dictionary entry, but you're in luck. There's only one word that has more than one form. That's the word paulum pauli neuter, which means little. Everything else is an adverb or a conjunction, so there's only one Latin form to it. So it should be an easier vocabulary section, theoretically. So know that vocab, know what I just taught you about the comparative and superlatives, understand how to translate the ablative degree of difference, and you should be in good shape for the quiz. The exam's just around the corner. As you know, the exam will be a lot like your most recent test. So if you're the kind of guy that wants to get started studying for the exam, you can start studying vocab from the lessons leading all the way back to our last test. So basically that would be 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay, wa later.